What's up, interview hackers? Sam here from byte.com, and today I want to talk about the difference between active job searching and passive job searching. Because this is something that has come up a lot recently that I've been thinking about in terms of, how are you expending your effort when you were searching for jobs? How are you actually, where is that energy going, and how is that energy directly translating into actual jobs applied for and actual companies reached out to and all this sort of stuff. And so this is a concept that comes from generally people talk about active and passive income, which you may have heard about this before. And the basic idea behind this is that active income is when you are trading your time for dollars, and passive income is when you're not. So examples of what an active income might be would be working a job, doing something that's hourly or salary based, doing something where you need to physically be present and be putting time in to be getting money back out. So another way to think about it is if you don't go into work, you are not making money, then that is active income. On the flip side, we have passive income, which is the idea that your time is not directly getting traded for money. So a great example of that might be investing. Right? You're going to put money in and you don't need to be physically present every day for money to come back out. But there are also lots of other ways that we can do this. We can do this by building a business or writing a book. Like writing a book is a perfect example of this because you write the book, you put in all this work and time up front, but then at the end of the day, you are just getting royalties on that over time that is not directly tied to the amount of time that you're putting in. And so I wanted you to take this concept and see how can we apply this to job searching. Because I think most of the time what we think about when we think about job searching is active job searching. It's going out and applying for jobs. It's reaching out to recruiters. It's sending out our resume. It's, all these things where we are literally putting in that time to try and find that job. And this is really valuable, and you need to do this. You need to, especially if there are specific companies that you're excited about or specific things that you're interested in, you need to do the active job searching because that's the best way for you to get like laser focused and really target on a specific company. And I would encourage you, as you're thinking about this active job searching, think about how you can go above and beyond. Think about how you can put in extra work and really do something that doesn't necessarily scale up, but allows you to be really focused. Because we talked about this in a video a week or two ago where we talked about the biggest reason why you're not standing out from the crowd is that you're doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. Right? You're doing the same thing. You're applying to the same jobs. You're doing it in the same way. And if you do it in the same way that everyone else is doing, it's impossible for you to stand out. So the best way to think about active job searching is how can I do things differently? How can I do deep research on a specific company and come to them with like here are 10 reasons why I am the best candidate for this job. It's going to networking events and connecting with people and getting to know people so that you can then later on go say, hey, I know we talked about this company. I know you've been working there for a while, and it sounded like from what you said that this job might be a really good fit for my skill set. Would you give me a referral? These are the kinds of things that you want to think about with your active job searching. But the thing that most people don't do, and the thing that I want you to start thinking about as well, is how can you start doing some passive job searching? And the best way to do this is through your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn has a really cool tool where you can actually just elect to say, hey, I'm open to job opportunities, and your profile is going to show up to recruiters when they are searching for people. And this is such a valuable tool because what that means is if you set your profile up properly and you're attracting the right kind of people, you are going to have people reaching out to you being like, hey, would love to interview you for this job. Hey, would love to interview you for that job. And it's completely passive. Right? We're not actually putting in any active work. And so we can keep doing that deep, active, research-based job searching on the active side while we have this basically framework, this flow of leads coming in on the other side. It's the same again, if we go back to the idea of making income where you have passive versus active income, what do you normally do? You take your active income, you take the money that you're making at your job and you invest it. You put it into a 401k, you put it into an IRA where it's going to continue to passively generate money over time. And so it allows you to develop two different income streams. And by having both of those, if you lose your job, for example, or if something changes, if the economy goes down, you still have that other income stream. And so you are diversified. And the same thing, again, we can do this in our job searching. And so if you update that LinkedIn profile, you're starting to diversify. If, for example, there are other ways that you could do this. Maybe there is a place where you could post your resume and lots of companies can see it. Maybe you create a personal website or a blog or a personal brand, or you develop an app. Any of these sorts of things where people are potentially going to find you and be like, oh, that's a person who we might want for this job. Contributing to open source projects is another great example of passive job searching. And so what I want to encourage you to do, this is all I got for you in this video, and I just want you to encourage you to start thinking about, how can I get out of that mindset of purely putting the time in, getting the applications out? How can you start to dissociate the two? Because as soon as you can start to dissociate the two, you're able to scale exponentially, because you no longer have to have this direct trade-off of time to applications or time to job searching, right? If it takes you 5 minutes to send out a resume to a company, you are limited inherently by how fast you can send out those resumes. Whereas if you can set up that passive system to go along with your active system, you don't want to be only passive, but if you can set up that passive system to go along with your active system, then you have these two balanced systems that are going to allow you to accomplish a lot more. And also, if you're working full time, for example, you can shift more towards the passive side so that you can start to have those job applications coming in, and you can be more selective, and you can say, I'm not putting in the work here, but if something really exciting comes across my desk, I might consider it. Whereas you don't want to spend a lot of time, you don't want to get really distracted from your current job by doing lots of active applications. And so with that, again, that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed this and if you want a ton more content like this, make sure you go ahead and download our free 50 coding interview questions guide at byte.com/50 questions. We go through 50 of the most common coding interview questions with video solutions for every single one. I think you guys are really going to dig that. I appreciate you joining me here today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.